Then he tore off her unicorn print pajamas and mounted her like a rabid hound. Rabid hound. Hello, friends, and welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily cringe content anywhere on the internet. Promise swearsies, it's just a fact. Go ahead, look it up. Thanks so much. Funky P Beard has returned. He's no longer dating OP. If you missed that part of the story arc, well, the previous video links are in the description. Can OP stay broken up with him this time? She does have backup to assist her in doing so I'm hopeful. But then what does that mean for the neckbeard of our story? Complete and total psychological meltdown? Let's hope so. We'll get into the story and we will find out today. This action will have consequences. Funky P Beard, part number 7. Actions usually have consequences, yes. Welcome back to another installment of this Red exclusive tale of Neckbeard cringe. Oh, the branding! We forgot about the branding this whole time! There's also a tinge of RPG horror. You might regret it. Like I said last time, less and less. It's going really well. Let's do a mini cast refresher since some of us are experiencing both behavioral and circumstantial changes at this point in the story. OP, the narrator, I'm Val. Well, she's the story writer. I'm the narrator, but I don't exist in this universe. It's really confusing. But yes, at this point, OP thinks that she's broken up with Funky for real this time. Well, that is not hopeful. Why is there asterisks around think? It's not good. Funky P Beard, bona fide piece of crap, alcoholic psycho, now my ex-boyfriend. Hooray! Maury, weird kinky GM, likes exhibitionism and illegal substances. Don't we all? Axton, extremely sexy, charming, pleasant to be around, smells nice, has a sense of humor that meshes well with my own. I'm into him, and I'm pretty sure he likes me back. Sage, fed up with Funky, no longer level-headed. Also, he's with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and he put Funky in a headlock and made him pass out in the last episode. Oh, it's exciting. Athena despises Funky. Nevertheless, she is attempting to keep peace between Sage and Funky. And Snorlax, easygoing, friendly, rarely directly involved in the weekend's drama. Big fan of the devil's lettuce. And my spirit animal, as it turns out. Oddly enough, there aren't any trigger warnings for this chapter. I didn't write it with the intention of providing a break from the insanity, but that's how things shook out. So, you're welcome. I apologize. Whatever the case, it's gonna get weird again soon enough. Yeah, but not for this chapter. For this chapter, we just get to chill. Nobody's peeing in jars and puking on each other this time around. It's all psychological drama this time. Just a bit of a different flavor. Yes, chapter 7, this action will have consequences. So, Funky had apparently clumped up the stairs and locked himself in Sage's home office with a bottle of whiskey and a half-empty 2-liter bottle of Dr. Pepper. Yeah, make yourself at home, I guess. Sage was irate over this. He predicted that Funky would wind up vomiting all over the office and would be too drunk to whiz in the Dr. Pepper bottle with any semblance of decent aim. Athena once again begged Maury to kick Funky out of the group, but Maury's response was, as always, non-committal. And I'm still not sure how to suss Maury out, you know? Are you not kicking out because you think you can fix that mess? Or are you not kicking him out because you don't want to lose one of your toys? I'm still unsure. I gathered my backpack and purse from the guest room and returned to the dimly lit living room. Snorlax was FaceTiming with a cute, cheerful-sounding girl, a real one, eating Doritos and giggling. This made me smile. The derpy, spacey stoners always annoyed the piss out of me, but Snorlax was a chill, silly type of stoner, and I found his highness endearing. There's a difference between indicas and sativas, don't you know? Athena was curled up next to Sage on the couch, and they were speaking in hushed voices. Maury was butt naked, sitting on the fireplace in some kind of Theravada Buddhist meditation pose. I also noticed he had several lines of coke and a rolled up dollar bill next to him. How very zen. You know what? Whatever it takes to attain enlightenment for you, You just go right ahead. Axton was in the kitchen, prepping the coffee that everyone was sure to be fiending for as noon approached. The piece of armor that he'd had to remove earlier was draped over his shoulder. I decided that this would be a good time to flip the script, so I shifted a few bottles around on the countertop to get his attention as I stood in the entryway. Axton is a good boy, very helpful, but yeah, I think he loves this punishment. Like, hey bro, we're not playing the game right now, you can put your shirt back on. He's like, no, I don't think I will.
Keep your shirt on!
No! Axton says, hey, so it seems like we all survived Funky. OP, yeah, for tonight at least. He set the timer on the coffee pot and turned to face me. OP, I think it's cool that you take care of everybody when they're hungover. I took a few steps into his personal space. Axton, somebody has to. Not sure how I wound up with this job. In my imagination, I had been completely cool and composed, seductive, without being overly forward. But when the situation got real, I was scared out of my wits. Despite wearing the girlfriend label for over a year in an effort to keep Funky's terroristic threats to a minimum, I couldn't recall the last time I'd felt any semblance of romantic inclination, so yeah, I was rusty. You're doing your best, it's fine. Clearly you both already like each other, so it's a pretty hard thing to screw up, honestly. OP says, hey, what's on your shirt? He flipped it around and held it up, showing me graphics that read high tech, low life. I laughed. Is that a Shadowrun reference? Axton, it's kind of a general cyberpunk genre reference, but it works perfectly for Shadowrun techies. I awkwardly put my backpack down. OP, would it apply to Deckers? Axton, sure. You want to borrow it? I think I blushed. Look at you two kids. Look at this. In the wake of everything that has happened to us throughout this story, friends, a romance is still blossoming. Hope truly does spring eternal. I hope it goes well. You crazy kids can make it. I know it. OP says, yes. I mean, yeah, sure. Cool. Smooth. He handed it over and I held it up to my chest. Axton, that's cute. I think I blushed again. Axton, so do you notice anything different about me tonight? OP, no shirt? No hurling? Axton, progress, huh? Notice anything else? OP, I feel like I'm failing a test. Axton, I wouldn't test you. That's a douche move. But I wanted to make sure you noticed that I'm not sloppy drunk. And I've made it through a very harsh day with very harsh light. And I still... He was fully in my personal space at that point. Oh my god, this is happening. Are you excited, elated, terrified? Probably all of them. My heart was pounding out of my chest. Stupid Adderall. But I wasn't stopping Axton this time. Again, this had nothing to do with my newfound freedom from Funky. The previous night, I hadn't wanted to kiss a Ralph mouth attached to a guy who was so drunk he probably would have put the moves on an inanimate object. But tonight, it seemed like Axton had deliberately stayed fairly sober just to get this kiss. I'm not sure if it's a sweet gesture or a low bar, but like considering what we're coming from, sure, why not? So my eyes were closed, my face was tilted up to meet him, and then I nearly jumped out of my skin when Maury loudly snorted a line and followed the snorting with a delighted bellow. Axton grabbed my arms to steady me, and we both laughed at Maury's ostentatious drug use. Then Axton's arms wound around me even more tightly. Snorlax, hey guys, I got the munchies from hell. I want some of those, like, orange circus peanut thingies. Is that what they're called? Yo, Sage, you got any circus peanuts? This is not going as we had hoped, is it? Life rarely does. Maybe adjourn to the backyard for just a moan. It was at this point that Sage and Athena entered the kitchen. Sage said, I don't think so. We got some circus animal cookies. Snorlax, yeah, that'll work. Axton pressed his forehead to mine, and we were both laughing. Out of frustration, out of embarrassment, out of nervousness. It's just life, man. They don't think it be like it is, but it do. Athena says, damn, did we interrupt something? Snorlax, oh, shit. Sorry, guys. Sage tossed him the cookies. Snorlax, just carry on. Pretend we're not here. But the moment was kinda gone. Don't get me wrong, I desperately wanted to snog, but I decided it could wait until we had a bit of guaranteed privacy. Yeah, that's probably a better idea, but at least some things have been established at this point, you know? It's going to happen at some point down the road, isn't it? Maybe. OP says, I picked my backpack up and slung it over my shoulder with Axton's high-tech low-life shirt. Axton, you going home? OP, just for the night. Axton, bummer. I get it, though. Things are probably gonna keep raging here for a while. Hey, would you text me when you get home? I took out my phone and handed it to him. Digits, please. Axton, I'm calling myself from your phone. Did I just trick you into giving me your number? OP smiling. Don't make me regret it. I don't think he will, but yeah, we've known the guy for 2 days. And the entire 2 days, basically everybody's in some sort of altered state, so I don't know. Definitely better than what you're leaving behind, though. Okay, I know. Enough with my terrible, awkward flirting. I realize that's not the kind of cringe that you guys are here for. Just know that this awkwardness will lead to some beard cringe before too long. I mean, I do sort of hate the fluffy, romantic type of stuff, but this isn't unbearable quite yet. If it goes on for another 15 minutes, then yeah, I'll start getting antsy. So I said my goodnights to everyone and headed back to my small, blissfully funky-free apartment. I made myself some tea. I took a bath, slipped into Axton's shirt, and climbed into bed. And this is where I get slutty AF. Oh my goodness. Are things about to get real spicy or something? We could make it a Patreon and YouTube member exclusive, but I don't think it's gonna go to that point. Maybe? OP says I clipped a selfie stick around my phone, tilted the stick to make sure I got my good side, checked to make sure the graphics on the shirt were visible, pulled the prettiest face I could manage, snapped at least 10 pictures, picked my favorite, and texted it to Axton. That's a lot of effort, but you know what? Good for you. What's the prettiest face you can manage? Please don't let it be a fucking duck face.
Beautiful girl, why the f*** are you making a duck face?
No more MySpace angles, if I can request that. Axton texts back saying, you look hot in my shirt. Heart eyes emoji. I texted back a blushing emoji along with, thank you, see you tomorrow. And then I realized that it was almost 4 a.m., so I added, I'll see you later today. He texted back, looking forward to it. Sweet dreams. Sweet dreams. Now, this might seem boring. It sort of is. It might feel like I'm having a wank and reliving the earliest stages of my romance. Are you not? But I still have these texts on my phone. This is verbatim what Axton and I texted to each other. Nothing more, nothing less. And the picture I sent was super tame, considering how hard I was crushing on him by this time. Yeah, but you can't show him your butthole 2 days in. That's...
How's that look?
It looks like a f***ing nightmare.
You gotta leave some mysteries for the wedding night. If you've ever seen a woman borrow a man's shirt, you know that men's t-shirts tend to fit women like short dresses. So the selfie didn't show a whole lot of skin. You could see a little bit of leg, but the t-shirt hit around the mid-thigh. Maybe that's slutty, but I don't think it was. I certainly didn't want to come across as a hoe bag to a guy that I had quickly grown to like on many, many levels. Mid-thigh? If you're showing anything beyond the ankle, uncouth. I tossed and turned a little as the Adderall wore off, but I eventually zonked out and fell into a nightmare where Funky crawled through my computer screen and projectile vomited cockroaches straight into my face. Well, that's a hell of a dream. Yeah, so much for sweet dreams, I guess. I jolted up and looked at my clock to find that it was only 9 a.m. Balls. I doubted I'd be able to get back to sleep after that nightmare. Plus, I really, really wanted to go back to the Shadowrun house and see Axton. God, the first phases of a new relationship really is just something else. Those brain chemicals are running out of control. Go do it, OP. Have fun. It only happens once. I mean, like, per pair of people. I decided to take a page from Athena's book and wear some cute PJs to the Sunday gaming session. I put on makeup, deliberately opting for smudge-proof lip stain instead of regular lipstick because reasons. And that reason's name is Axton, ain't it? I flat ironed my hair, dabbed some snickerdoodle scented perfume from Medifest on my wrists, and did all the other basic humaning that a reasonable person does before leaving the house to interact with other humans. But the continuation of my fun new flirtation and the inevitable final boss battle with Funky would have to wait. Good. Rest up a little bit more. 5 hours of sleep? You're not yourself quite yet. I can't function after 5 hours of sleep. I start frothing at the mouth over anything. Anyway, on my way back to Sage's house, I stopped by Funky's brother's townhouse. I forgot to mention that Funky was freeloading when I initially painted a picture of the beard. I let myself in, gathered all the belongings that I had left over there, placed my key on top of his fleshlight, reclaimed my cotton candy scented bubble bath, and took my leave of the beard nest forever. Forever for real? Maybe it actually is forever. Maybe I'm being rused right now. Again, I guess we'll have to find out. I was a ball of nerves as I parked my car across the street from Sage's house. My brain kept switching between imagining snogging Axton until my lips went numb and that horrible mental image of Funky barfing cockroaches all over me. I wasn't actually scared that Funky would vomit roaches, but I was scared that he was going to be positively hideous to me all day long. Don't worry, OP. He definitely is. That's basically an inevitability. If he treated you like trash while you were still banging him, just imagine if you're not. OP says the only thing left to do at this point was to nut up and return to Shadowrun yet again. It takes some big brass balls to do it. Although you are being properly motivated with the lure of a new love. Seeing that it was nearly noon, once I'd taken the time to make myself as pretty as genetics would permit. That is far funnier of a sentence than it should be. And erase any evidence of my existence from Funky's place, I imagined I would walk into a house full of hungover but somewhat coherent people. I also imagined that Funky would have emerged from Sage's home office. I hate to imagine the condition of that room, and I was in no hurry to face the beardo. Would he be too hungover to function? Had he wet his pants again? Was Maury around to wrangle him in? Hell, Maury might not have slept a wink if he kept snorting coke with the gusto that we had observed in the wee hours of the morning. I could sleep when I'm dead. And then his heart explodes. I put my finger on the doorbell, but before I could press, I heard yelling, and I froze. Funky, it wasn't my fault. You guys were all being a-holes last night. If you had my back, I wouldn't have needed to get drunk and hide. Sage, bro, you could have just unlocked the fucking door and gone to the bathroom. You could have puked in the wastebasket. There's vom all over the floor. There's piss in my office chair. My computer has a gazillion viruses now because of that weird porn you downloaded. Funky, I never watched that. I find it disrespectful to women. As a feminist, Sage, oh, go eat a dick, Funky. And then the front door swung open, and I was face to chest with a fully suited up Funky, and he was already apoplectic. As if that's actually too much of a change from how he usually is. Funky, I can't believe you actually went home, you harlot. I expected you and Axton to be having a threesome with Athena. OP, sorry to disappoint. Do you mind stepping aside? Funky,
How coked out are you? Because Maury's twacking his balls off, and I know you did it with him.
OP, I'm not on anything. I'm fucking knackered, but I'm here to finish playing the game. May I please go inside now? And this was when I finally saw our affable adept's real-world strength. Snorlax had overheard Funky's raving, and he managed to literally wrestle him to the side, allowing me to enter. Funky emitted a noise that was the closest thing that I've ever heard to a legit even though Snorlax was manhandling him as non-aggressively as possible. Funky dramatically collapsed to the floor and continued to long after Snorlax had released him. Yeah, okay. If that's what you need to do, truly you're only embarrassing yourself. Snorlax, welcome back, Val. I hugged him. Thanks, Snor. That was a pretty epic move. Snorlax looked pleased with himself. Funky wallowed miserably on the floor once he was all reed out, and no one cared. Athena knelt beside him, ignoring his feigned misery. Listen, Funky, she said. Sage will calm down. Just go clean up the pee and clean up the vom and pay to get his computer fixed, and all will be forgiven by next week. He's not going to do any of I guarantee he's not going to do any of that. Funky huffed and then went back to clutching his arm and writhing in freshly molly-walloped supposed agony. I said a quick hello to Athena, gave her a hug, traded some girl talk about our cute PJs, and then my eyes scanned the room for Axton. Athena tugged on my sleeve, pointed to the back porch, and winked at me. You know what's going on. I don't even have to say who I'm looking for. I'm telling you, dude. Girls, super hyper socially aware. I stopped by the guest room to stash my stuff, kept my cigs, lighter, and character sheets with me, and made my way to the porch. I glanced back to the living room to make sure that Funky was still prostrate on the floor, continuing to play the victim, and he was. Yeah, okay. I was safe from him for at least a little while. Axton was sitting on the steps leading down to the yard, just as he had been the day before. I hoped that I wasn't interrupting his alone time. OP, I'm back. You mind if I sit with you, or is this your alone time? Axton,
It's sometimes my alone time, but I'm glad you crashed it.
I sat down. I was still wearing his high-tech low-life shirt underneath my PJs. I wanted to make sure he knew that I was wearing it, but I still felt like I should return it. I figured I could slip it off from underneath my pajama top, the way we girls could take off our bras without removing our shirts. I always wished I could take off my underwear without taking off my pants.
I just checked my underwear.
Grandpa, how'd you take off your underwear without taking off your pants?
But you know, we all get different strengths. OP says, I have your shirt. I wriggled my arms underneath my layered garments and found myself in something resembling a straitjacket. OP, this went a lot smoother in my head. Axton laughed.
Smooth is boring. You're kind of adorable right now.
I could have just taken everything off and handed it back to him, but I felt like that would have been too forward. Yeah, like I said, leave something for the wedding night. Jesus! I could have also removed it before I arrived, but that wouldn't have been forward enough. Oh. Nevertheless, I was, once again, failing at being seductive. Yeah, but it's not really a pass-fail thing. The fact that you put in the effort is probably enough. OP, I can do it. Give me a second. Ugh. Okay. I think we can all figure out what this is leading to, and I'm obviously not great at writing romance, nor do I imagine anyone really cares to hear it, so I'll narrate this part of the story from Funky's perspective. Oh, good. I love this. Now that's what I call a script flip. Do I have to do it in his voice? I probably should do it in his voice, right?
The harlot hated herself so much in that moment. The self-loathing was almost erotic.
Gross.
She was dumbstruck by the superficially beautiful countenance of the man next to her. His physical splendor blinded the harlot to the blackness of his foul soul.
Foul soul, foul soup, only one letter apart. Coincidence? I think not.
She longed for him to neglect her, scorn her. Perhaps he would even hit her.
Ew.
It looked like he worked out, so she imagined the blow would hurt deliciously.
This is so weird. Like, I kind of like it, but also I'm hating it with every fiber of my being.
And she knew he would soon be ramming his gargantuan rod into other women just because he could. She deserved this fate, and the thought made her dripping in the panties.
Citation needed on all of that, but I guess this is the only frame of reference that Funky can see through.
So she opened her mouth to his thrashing tongue. She sucked on the mouth muscle and told him she wanted to suck on the mighty bang muscle between his legs. What a hussy. She thought of the kind, gentle, intelligent man that she was cuckolding, and she felt a tinge of shame. So she begged the pretty-faced rake to hit her. His sick mind soared with unbridled glee, and he slapped her wicked harlot face senseless.
None of this actually happened for the record. It's the sick, twisted mind of a sick, twisted man. I don't think I could do an entire story like this. Like, I do like it. I think it's interesting, but I'm glad it's only a couple paragraphs.
It did indeed hurt deliciously. She climaxed then and there, squirting so ferociously that the tsunami of lady spunk soaked through her scandalous pajama pants and into the rake's smug eyes. Then he tore off her slutty unicorn print pajamas and mounted her like a rabid hound.
Rabid hound. OP says to clarify, nah. It was just a really good kiss. No mounting took place. It was delightfully PG-13. No frontal nudity whatsoever. We're keeping it classy.
It's good for the kids if it's good for the adults.
And nobody invaded the porch to interrupt, thank God. I have a feeling that Athena was guarding the back door, said she probably had a fairly accurate idea of what might happen. Axton and I came up for air, laughed at ourselves a little for behaving like high school kids under the bleachers, and then took advantage of the next few moments of privacy. I mean, get it in while you can get it in, that's what I know. This isn't going to happen very often. However, it was nearing noon at this point, and Maury would be expecting us all to gather in the war room before very long. I just don't understand how this game relentlessly continues on, despite all of the strange and terrible things that are happening around. Thankfully, it is the last day. It's Sunday, but yeah, it's only noon on Sunday. There's a lot that can happen between now and dawn break on Monday. So I guess please keep your seatbelts buckled is what I'm saying. Axton took off the button down that he had been wearing and put the high-tech low-life shirt back on, claiming that he liked the way it smelled. I was hoping he would. As we were making our way to the door, Athena burst through it and said, OP, there's a situation with Funky. I think you both need to get in here. Athena, Axton, and I entered the war room, and I could only imagine that Funky was about to accuse us of having a three-way, but it was even worse than that. However, we'll have to get into that in the next episode. I'm so tempted to press on to continue it for myself. That's a really good cliffhanger. Compared to the last one, yeah, that's infinitely better. Honestly, I don't care much at all for what happens to Funky. Oh no, he's having a situation. What is it, a seizure? Let him die. Like, it might sound heartless, but what is he achieving by existing? What good has he really brought into the world? Is that not the metric that we're judging other people's lives by? I mean, if that's the case, I might be in some trouble. I do bring some good things into the world, but I'm also spreading knowledge of some terrible things. I don't know. I'm very conflicted. I need to have some time alone to sort these feelings out. But thank you guys so much for watching. We'll get back to it next week. If you are enjoying, like, comment, sub, do all them things. Check out the Teespring, Amazon affiliate in the description. Thank you so much to my Patreon patrons, my YouTube channel members. You're lovely people, and I couldn't possibly make it without you. If you can afford to sign up, that's huge. If not, don't sweat it. No matter what, I want you to always remember, friends, that you are loved, you are worthy, you definitely deserve it, and I shall see you in the next one. So until then, bye-bye. Go ahead and cut them open. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.